How's it going, my friends? I'm Fringy123 and welcome to an Angry Gamer Plays Call of Duty Ghosts. You've been waiting for this, see an angry guy on the internet talk about how much this game sucks colossal dick. Because, let's be honest, Call of Duty is one of the most reviled video game franchises right now, and of all time. It receives an overwhelming amount of hate. People fucking despise this game and its core. But then it's one of the best selling games of all time. So something's going on here, this espionage. But I'm going to stick to the middle ground, as I've tend to have done recently, where I'm having fun with this game, but this game is terrible in so many ways. Like, this game is very lacking in so many ways. And let's start with the fact that this PC port is awful. It's so badly ported that there are it's unfathomable how stupid some of the things are in this. I mean, for starters, the game is poorly optimized, which you will see in-game, but this game drops hard. The frame rate drops really hard, and it's not justified, because this game looks like shit, to be honest with you. Compared to releases like Battlefield 4, Crysis 3, this game looks awful. And for such a big budget, that's disappointing. But it's also more representative of how Infinity Ward really doesn't care about you. And they think that they're top shit, and that they're the best. So if you look at the options, there's no separate sliders. You can only adjust the volume, which is kind of shit if you ask me. The keys are fully rebindable. But the video options, Jesus Christ. I've got the things turned down, and yet the game still drops to like 30 frames per second sometimes when I'm looking at things. And my computer is not a slouch. And the fact that the system requirements for this game is 6 gigabytes of RAM, that's embarrassing. That is freaking disgraceful. And that is awful. So, let's get in and actually show you some things. Before they were trying to sell me DLC, no thanks. So, they made some new changes that I like. Now you create a soldier, because for the first time you can actually customize your character. Within this character, of which you can have many characters, you have a certain number of loadouts for that character. You can also customize your character, add gender, head, all that stuff. Only problem is you have to unlock all that stuff. So you want to play as an Asian? Too bad, you got to unlock it, which is stupid. I think race locks should just not be there at all. You should be able to look the part and then customize your gear later on. You know, like every other game ever does it. But at least they finally added it. Also, Infinity Ward has finally done something they don't normally do, which is take steps and take things that other developers of the Call of Duty franchise have done and implement. They've kind of taken the Pick 10 system in a differing way. It's not really Pick 10. You have a certain number of squad points which you can use to allocate for buying weapons. As you can see here, some more expensive than others. Same with your attachments. The same applies for perks, of which there are 8 actual perk slots, and you can have extra if you ditch a secondary. So that's pretty cool. It means you can have greater customization, and there's different level tiers that take more. So the really powerful ones, like not showing up on the radar, are higher, and this is good for balancing, because it means you can't have all overpowered perks. Though I'm sure that in a couple of months people will find exploits. But I like this. It also means that you can buy the perks that you want earlier on instead of having to unlock them, as it says here. So I bought Dead Silence for my stealth class so that I can do those first. Same goes for assault packages, or the strike packages I should say, but they're pretty terrible. I mean, there are only 12, and a lot of these aren't good. IMS is a pain in the ass, and you walk into a room and explode. The SATCOM, which replaces the UAV, makes it pointless to the point where you never have a UAV up, ever. Because teams, you have to coordinate and put down SATCOMs at the same time, because one SATCOM will not reveal the map. You need 2 SATCOMs to reveal the entire map, and you need 3 for a UAV. Because there is a thing called the Oracle, which shows enemies through the map, which is kind of replacing the Blackbird or whatever, but it's not as good. They've also got Assault and Specialist, but you already know what those are. So, now that we've covered those aspects, let's actually jump into a game. So, they've gotten rid of a lot of good game modes. They've added some, and they've gotten rid of some. There is no more search and destroy in public matches, only search and rescue, where it's essentially kill confirmed meets search and destroy, where you pick up dog tags to revive your players, and pick up enemy dog tags to kill those players. Why would you get rid of Search and Destroy? Such a well, you haven't got rid of it. You can still play it in private, but why would you get rid of such a fan favorite? Such a fan favorite amongst people. Oh yeah, no demolition either. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. You can't play it, and I loved playing Demolition. Now there's only a few objective game modes. Jesus Christ. Oh well, let's get into some domination. And then double EXP weekend right now. And once we actually get into a match, I'll be able to show you some of the issues that I have with this game. Or more that I don't need to show you, but they'll just be fucking hell. They'll just be as clear as fucking day. Oh yeah, there's no dedicated servers at the moment, so the promise of dedicated servers was kind of a kick in the balls and didn't really come to fruition. See, this is why I like dedicated servers, or more better yet, a server browser where I can just say, okay, so here's the servers that have a lot of people on them, I'll click on those and play. Instead of this. I used to think this was good in 2008, but it's 2013, and a server list is actually better. It's a lot better. So while we wait for this to fucking load, there we go. I can talk about some of the issues. So, as it's a Call of Duty, and they come out yearly, what can you expect in terms of graphic upgrade? As you can see from the loading screen, not a whole lot, because this game looks pretty piss poor. It looks pretty bad. In fact, that's an understatement. It looks dated. It looks, for a AAA game that sells this big, it looks dated. And it's not even that it needs to be photorealistic, but the fact that nothing substantial has come out in recent years, and the biggest graphical upgrade was from Modern Warfare 2, and nothing ever since. Nah, that's not really that's not good enough. For a game of this high a budget, that's not good enough. So we could get in and see that this game looks crap. And the performance, of course, is pretty piss poor. And for a game that looks this crap, that's not real. Oh, okay. I don't think that's okay. But I mean, who am I, right? I'm just a person who expects more from their games in terms of graphics. And it's not even about being a graphics whore. This game just doesn't look very good. The textures, and remember that this is on high, but even then, they're on high because the performance chugs below 60 frames per second that they so frequently talk about. And I agree with them that 50 frames per second is important, but I mean, got this one. Gonna die. But yeah, the graphics aren't very good. The frame rate drops to like 30, which I can play Battlefield 3 on Ultra, by the way, at about 60 frames per second. And it only occasionally dips, but that game looks a lot better than this game. So I can demonstrate to you the new kill streak of the guard dog. There he is. He's Riley from the campaign. And I'm fucking dead. And my dog is dead. So as it's a 5 kill streak, dog died straight away. These kill streaks aren't very effective. Even like the big kill streaks, excluding the one that is essentially a nuke. That's essentially a nuke. It's not as good. It kind of destroys a map and is actually a big game changer, but it ruins a lot of the maps. So, you know, there you go. What about the maps? This is Infinity Ward. The new Infinity Ward, I might add. And if you remember, Modern Warfare 3 had pretty awful maps. Like, in particular, Downturn was one of the worst maps ever. Like, Downturn was a disgrace. Oh, thanks. Now, how are the maps here? The maps suffer from the same issue that they are crap. On the whole, these maps aren't very good, because they stray too far away from the Call of Duty map design philosophy. Call of Duty maps usually follow a certain design where they don't have too many branching paths or any of that. They are more or less very choke pointy in some ways, where you have a few paths that you can go down. But in this game, there are so many paths like that you will just die all the time. All the time you will die because people run up from the sides, from everywhere. It's not the same sort of flanking that I like from Call of Duty. And as a result... wow. Wow, what a cock. And as a result, these maps aren't very good. Look, it's like a maze. It's so hard to get around. Sometimes I'm trying to get to B, and I'm on the wrong level. And this is aided by the fact that the new HUD, in terms of the map, is pretty confusing to get your head around. As you can see, it's much more of a horizontal long. It's much wider. And another thing that's incorporated into the new maps in terms of the feedback and information that you get involves the level of which the other players are on. Right? So sometimes there'll be an arrow pointing up saying, hey, they're on a level above you or a level below you. The ones that are really confusing are the ones where it's hollow, and I have no idea what the hell is going on. And it's really confusing. Well, that and the maps aren't very vivid or colourful. There's a few standout maps that I like. Those maps being Stonehaven, which is a very colourful map. That's just... yep, there you go. So now we have 2 SATCOMs in the map. And as a result... got it, at least. Got it. Because I'm an objective player, because... you can't win unless you get the objectives. Kills aren't everything. And essentially, it'd be nice if I could find this enemy. There you are. And now I've got a dog. Yeah. As you remember, the Modern Warfare 3 maps were very much war-torn sort of design. And these war-torn designs were very drab. Like, just not pleasing to the eye. And yes, I know it's a war. But, like, come on, you could have at least some sort of color. Or some sort of variety in the color. Your color palette can't consist of all grey and just destroyed buildings. That's why a map like Stonehaven, which is very colourful and has a lot of nice texture design, is good. Jesus Christ. But, yeah, the maps aren't that good. But what about the gunplay? Because at the end of the day, maps are important actually, so scratch that, because if your maps suck, then the game is gonna suck if it's a multiplayer game. But how's the gunplay? The gunplay is Call of Duty, right? And my dog got the kill. The gunplay is the same as ever. Love it or not, it's the same Call of Duty that you know. I hate when people say you know and love, because a lot of the time people don't like this formula. Is my dog still alive or what? Yeah, there's Master Chief, the dickhead with a... fuck your dog. And my dog just got a kill there. My dog's dead. It's the same Call of Duty formula of fast-paced, arcadey style shoot-'em-up action. And what do you expect? I mean, to be honest with you, is there no other franchise you can think of that has done the same thing, where it's the same game, same formula? They're never going to change the formula, because you risk alienating your fans who buy your game for the gameplay. Because at the end of the day, most people buy games, excluding the notable exceptions of like story games where the story is all that matters. A la not The Last of Us, a la like The Walking Dead. This is a game that's about the gameplay, because, let's be honest, the campaign doesn't really have much going for it. The story's awful, it's linear as hell, and even though I have fun playing the campaigns, they're not inherently good, are they? So, on the whole, how is the gameplay? And the gameplay is the same Call of Duty, and it's solid Call of Duty. It's not, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. So, as a game, it's not flawed in that the gameplay is bad. It's more that people are sick of the game in terms of its gameplay, where it's the same thing over and over. And I don't blame them for getting serious fatigue. I mean, that's all fine and dandy with me. But if you have the audacity to get pissed off about COD and say that it's the same thing over and over, you better not, and you better not be playing other games like Battlefield, Assassin's Creed, which no doubt you are playing those games. So, I mean, it's kind of hypocrisy. Just because Call of Duty is the biggest one doesn't mean that you can say, well, Call of Duty should not be allowed to copy and paste its formula, even though other games do that. Because if your game is part of a franchise, you're buying it for that gameplay. Unless, of course, it's a story game. A game where... Yes! Haha, and I got a dog. I mean, let's be honest. This is the reason why I'm having fun. It's because of Call of Duty. It's because the Call of Duty formula is solid. And it really is. Love it or hate it, it's solid game in terms of its gameplay. And I'm dead. The gameplay itself is a lot of fun. The fast-paced action that pretty much got me into online gaming. Before, I was much more a single-player person, but the gameplay was so much frantic fun, and that's the reason why people like it. It's kind of like the Michael Bay syndrome, except that this game is actually fun to play in a lot of respects, as opposed to Michael Bay movies, which are just fucking disgraceful. And he is the worst director of all time. These games I have a lot of fun with. And you can't get pissed off at Activision for making the same game every year when people have time and time again proven that they will go out and they will give their hard-earned money to Activision every single year to play the same game. I mean, Call of Duty is doing well. Can you blame Activision for saying, you know what, let's actually make money? The company that we are, you know what, let's not make money. Let's stop making Call of Duty and just make games that the hardcore gamer that makes up a very small sum of our audience wants. No. You wonder why there aren't many games like Dark Souls is because there's not a market for them. You are a hardcore gamer. You make up a small minority, and I'm part of this as well. We make up a small minority of actual consumers. Most of the people who buy COD do not go on IGN or GameSpot or any of those websites, read reviews, actually research any of this stuff. All they do is say, you know what game that I'm aware of is being released? Call of Duty, might as well go and buy that. And that's how they make their money, because they're not dipshits. Why is Activision successful? Because they're not retarded. And they know how to make money off of people. I mean, the DLC practices are god-awful. I hate that. The fact that they've already got their DLC plan, and Battlefield is guilty of this too, don't you even dare say that they aren't, of planning out their DLC prior to launch. That's not okay. But in terms of this, I'm having a lot of fun, despite a lot of the issues that I pointed out with this game, of which there are many issues. Now, you can hate on Call of Duty all you want, but if you enjoy the formula, like I do a lot of the time, you will have fun. And I think I've said all that needs to be said about this game. If you like Call of Duty, I don't see why you wouldn't like this one. And if you don't like Call of Duty, do not play it, because you will not have fun. Oh, before I leave, netcode is pretty terrible. There is a lot of lag and micro stutter, and it needs to be fixed. And I'm sure this is happening on all platforms, not just PC. Infinity Ward, pull your thumb out of your ass and actually make the game work. But with that, You'll just listen to my not so angry analysis of Call of Duty Ghosts. As usual, I'm Fringy123, and have a good one.